Evening, folks. Thanks for coming in. Nearly the end of another week, a wet week in Scotland. But hey ho, it's life, isn't it? It's life. You live in Scotland, you expect to have to, buy a canoe and flippers and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, tonight we have back the man himself, good-looking guy, actor, martial arts expert. What? Ching, ching. All that kind of stuff.
This is my martial arts there.
Do it again. Go on. What's the trying
I know it was pointed at you, but no disrespect intended.
Well, I could feel it. John, we'll get John Ozuna back. Yeah, again, and it's great to have him back because we always have a good laugh. We always have a good chat and stuff. There's Laura. She was just left here a short time ago. She was down for dinner.
Good to see you. Good evening.
She wanted to rush home to be settled in time to watch yourself, John.
Oh, that's too kind. No, it's great to be back. Just thank you for having me again. I'm surprised that you even wanted me to come back because I thought you'd be sick of me after the last time. And we always have great conversations. We have great times.
No, it's a pleasure to be back. But you get that, I've seen this in other shows as well. You get some guests on, and it's like talking to a brick. No disrespect to them, but they just kind of sit there and when you come off, never again. But then you get guests like yourself.
Thank you.
That come on and you just kind of straight away click with.
Yeah.
And you can ramble time, and you can just ramble on about anything. And it just goes from one thing to another. You don't have any kind of set topic or anything, but it's always good to get the people back, including yourself.
I appreciate that.
And it's just it's a kind of bond. I think that's a good thing about podcasts.
Yeah.
Especially during the pandemic, when nobody was allowed out, and paranormal teams are stuck at home. That's you every day, Scott.
Yeah, I always love being on your show. I mean, you've got a great show, you got a great format, and I've had the opportunity to interview with different programs, and a lot of what happens is, you have the paranormal genre and that particular focus. And they bring me on. They go, well, we don't even know what to talk to you about because you're not really in the paranormal world, and we're just kind of bringing you on. But it's all relative because we're human beings in pursuit of truth. I guess in some ways, we're in pursuit of truth. We're in pursuit of what happens beyond this life. We all have opinions. We have opinions based on faith, opinions based on our experiences. But I got a question for you, Scott, because I kind of asked you this question before. At what point in your life did you go, okay, I feel something beyond this world. I've experienced some things, and now I'm pursuing this as a passion. Like how old were you when you felt this?
I'll just cover Laura's comments. It says that's you every day, and she says ramble on. Yeah, so just talk. I must have been about. I've always had an interest, in life after death stuff. It goes back to when I was a teenager. I've always had an interest, and then around about my 20s, it was a friend of mine suggested going. His uncle ran a spiritualist church in Glasgow. And he says, why do it? So we went along, and I went to a few of them, but it was the usual kind of thing, John. You'd meet them on the stage, and she said, I want to come to you, etc. And you're kind of 50-50 whether, these people are planted there or not. I'm not saying they were, but there's always that doubt. My turning point was when I went to a spiritualist church myself. A spur of the moment thing. I'd never been in a church before, knew nobody, and the lady came on she must have been in her mid-50s, and she says right away she came to me, and she says, "You've got a daughter in spirit world. You've got a daughter in spirit called Donna, and she's been sitting on your knee since she came in."
Wow.
My ex-wife now, obviously, but we lost her daughter. She was just under 6 months. Her name was Donna. Now, when I went to this church, this must have been about eight or 9 years after we kind of lost her, sort of thing, maybe a bit less. But nobody knew me, and I was there myself. And when this woman says you've got a daughter called Donna, she'd be sitting on your knee since she came in.
Yeah.
She told me about my dad. She told me about my gran. Personal, small, little stupid things about my gran, a wee habit kind of thing. Because my gran, she'd been gone for quite a few years prior to this. And she told me about an ex-girlfriend. She says, there's a girl here called, her name's Alison, and she didn't pass over here. She passed over in America, and it was something to do with her breathing, and it was a car accident. And she wants you to know she's watching over you. Well, one of my ex-girlfriends was called Alison, and she went to America to live with her dad many, many years ago. She had asthma, and driving home one night, she took an asthma attack while driving.
Wow.
And what the police are saying, she tried to reach for an inhaler, and this put her off course steering wise, and she crashed. She was killed in the crash.
Oh God, I'm so sorry. Wow.
So this woman was spot on,
Wow.
and that's what it was. One of the times I came out of the building and I went in the car and I sat in the car for a good 30 minutes or something before I even started the engine. Just sitting there, I don't have any words of it. Just the head was kind of boom. So I would say I was round about, I was older than 20, maybe 26, 27. And that's when I really took an interest in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean you can't, Scott, give me a moment. I'm going to close my window because there's so much noise outside right now. So give me just one moment.
Well, I don't rabble on all the time, but you're forgiven for that one. There must be a big window.
Did you miss me?
I did. I was just saying that how much. I was just.
Sorry about that. It got very noisy around here. I didn't want to miss a word that you were saying, but I think everybody has had that one encounter with somebody, a personal experience, whether they were by themselves or they saw a shadow or they felt a feeling or somebody told them something, like, to your point, something that nobody would know. Like those little details, those little habits or details that nobody else would know this, and here they're talking about it, that makes the hairs in the back of your neck raise, gives you the goosebumps. And that, I mean, my goodness, that's it's hard to ignore that. You can't ignore stuff like that.
You can't ignore stuff like that. I mean, she spoke with my grandma, and initially she says, "I've got a little lady here, grey hair, and she's holding a rose." I thought, well, that's kind of typical older lady. Says, but the lady was doing this down at her waist. So she's doing this. Says, you'll recognise her with doing this. And smacked me, because my gran was about 4'2". My gran, bless her, was tiny. She was a munchkin.
She sounds adorable.
She was. Oliver was scared stiff here. You did not go on the wrong side of my grandma, even though she was.
I would not want to mess. No. Yeah.
Even though she was maybe up to there in me, that okay, gran. But I think it was more a respect thing. you know, and my grandma, she had a big part of my upbringing. You know, she lived with us till she passed. So she was always there in the house. You know, she didn't visit once a week. She was there through getting us to school and all the usual kind of grown up bits. But
yeah.
so she was tiny and she wore one of the old fashioned aprons round the waist. And she had this habit of tying it and untying it. And she would do it constantly. And it would drive me and my older brother insane. We would say, look, Gran, leave it, it's fine. But she just, and so this lady, it says, she's going like this at her waist. It says you'll recognise her by this. And that was, so, as I say, it was a minute detail, but that was something that there was no chance in earth this lady could have known that.
Wow.
You know.
Wow.
And
that's
so,
amazing.
but as you say, John, I totally agree, and I've said it before. I think, you know, a lot of people say, oh, the paranormal's a load of rubbish. Don't believe it. That's fair enough. That, you know, everybody's entitled to their opinion on it. But I've said to a couple of people, have you never had something happen to you, whether it's a sound, you've seen something, smelled something that you just cannot explain?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. Because, you know, I think, and we talked about this last show where, you know, we are not so far removed from other animals. You know, we are human animals, and so therefore we possess the primal instinct of self-preservation, which means if we feel something's not right, or we smell it, or we hear it, or we see it, you know, right away we can feel danger. And it's not unlike any other animals, you know, where they can feel a presence that's there far before we can, because their sensories, because they're in tuned, because they're really in tune to their environment. And sometimes a lot of the reasons, because of our technology or anything else, we're not so in tune. You know, we kind of separate ourselves from the environment that we live in. And you know, so yeah, you know, I remember when I was like, when you're a child, you're so receptive to new things, because you're always being exposed to newness, just new things just hitting you. And but you also know when something is a little odd, a little not quite right. And I think children, when we're children, we allow ourselves to be more receptive of things that are not normal, or how you want to categorize them. But then as we grow as adults, you know, we start to kind of lose that a little bit. And, you know, it's, you know, as a child, I mean, and a lot of it has to do with the culture, you know, our cultural upbringings. You know, we talk about the legends of certain spirits from the past, or you know, to try to get us to behave. You know, back in the day, you know, they would, and since my ancestry is of Mexican, which would be a indigenous and European ancestry, you know, they have their folk tales about um, La Llorona. La Llorona is one that would terrify all the Latin kids, you know, because because my grandmother would say, if you don't behave yourself, La Llorona is going to go after you, because she captures children and she drowns them in the river, you know. So you kind of go, what? she captures kids and she drowns them in the river. So, but that sticks with you. You don't forget stuff. You don't forget stuff like that, you know. And there's a bunch of them, but that's one of them. For, you know, so culturally we're exposed to this stuff, but then we experience our own versions of it. And when people pass, whether it be uh, family members, close friends, acquaintances, and then we dream about their presence, I feel those are the times that we receive the gift of their visitation. They're visiting us. And And we can't, as people, we can't think that we know it all. We don't know it all. We don't.
No, there's many people out there that say they know it all, or think they know it all, but as you said, we don't know it all. And yeah, I totally agree. When we're kids, and you're most susceptible to, what's around you and stuff like that. And we never had, when we grew up, we were kids, we never did any kind of, as you were saying about that lady coming and joins people, kids in the river. We never did anything like that. What we had was, it was an old ship that was docked in Glasgow.
Okay.
And we would pass it every weekend going into the town. And my mum would always say, that's the training ship. And kids, bad kids, go there. It was just an old ship. And so every time we pass it, if you're bad, that's what we're going to take you and leave you there.
Wow.
But it's not there. They actually ended up sinking it in the river. It's still where they sank it. But that was what we were thread. We were thread with the training ship. That's where you're going, and you'll live there forever.
We grew up the same way. Just a bunch of threats.
Well, I actually wrote a story on this with James Feathers coin songs that you think of, and play on the radio. She did actually. Laura does all her stories actually. But you are. Do you find, John, that when you're a kid, you're imaginary friends, all that kind of thing, but as you get older, you're kind of more programmed, and you end up with the sort of frame of mind that if you believe in the paranormal, you keep it to yourself because people are going to think, oh, he's weird, he believes in ghosts, because we're just, I know I've met quite a few people that as soon as you say we're into paranormal, we do the paranormal, I'm interested, I'm quite interested in that. But they'll not come out to their friends or anything and say it in case their friends think they're loopy-loo. Have you found that?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, just that's why I'm a very private person, and just a lot of what I post on social media has to do a lot with either the movie industry, things that are happening, things that are coming up, my martial arts life, things at my school, and my cat. So that's pretty much all I'll post. And anything outside of that, like my own personal beliefs on certain subjects, whether it be faith or religion or politics, or it doesn't matter. I kind of keep it to myself, because how it is that you're kind of afraid to be judged. Oh, really? No, God, don't tell me you believe in that crap. And that's their way about it. So you just don't subject yourself to it. And I stay pretty neutral, but yeah, I mean, I have some strong beliefs in one way or the other. And yes, I've expressed it to certain people that will have an opinion like, oh, come on, that's a bunch of, that's a bunch of crap, and that's a bunch of this, and that's a bunch of that, and you kind of go, okay, I'm not going to share that with you anymore. I'll keep it to myself. But yeah, absolutely.
So some people are, I'm looking back to Laura's comment, he's saying some people are adamant. My dad, bless him, he was one of them, because my dad told him, he passed away with cancer, but the doctors told him basically there's nothing we can do for you. It's just a matter of time. And so, but he took it well. He didn't say, oh, woe is me, I'm going to die. He was, that's it, time up. And for the last few weeks of his life, he wasn't out of hospital. He was at hospital the entire time. And I'd go and see him every day. And we would sit and have a laugh and joke about it. And I used to say to him, you better not come back and disturb me when I'm sleeping and all the rest of it. You better not annoy me. But he was adamant. He says, not sir. He says, see, when you die, that's it. Darkness, lights out. There's nothing. I say, Dad, you're talking correct. There's got to be something. He says, no, lights out. That's it. You're gone. So he was one of these people, he just did not believe in
exactly. Yeah.
life. And I wasn't going to try and convince him or anything like that. You know, he believed what he believed. Two comments. Well, I like to go back to Claude's original. This she says about dreams. Maybe dreams are, you know, some people might laugh at it, but who's to say, you know, you dream about a relative or something. Who's to say that's no? Because let's face it, all spirit wants basically what it wants to be acknowledged. As far as, you know, I've said, they just want somebody to know they're still here. And whatever way they can, whether it's, you know, knocking a cup off a worktop or shutting a door or, you know, whatever. But who's to say that they don't find a way through our dreams?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm just like what what I said before, and what I've experienced, because those that have passed in my life, it's I have reunited with them in my dreams in such a genuine way where you can feel their embrace. You can feel their embrace as if they were right there at that moment. And so for me, it was bittersweet. You know, it provides you that opportunity to visit again where you would never otherwise have that chance. You can say the things that you've been wanting to say when they were alive. You can say it right there and then, and I did. And then the bitter part is obviously it has to end. It goes away. You wake up, and so some of it, and it's funny because it's not like, okay, I'm thinking about this person over and over again. You may not think about the person, all of a sudden, bam, they're right there. They're right there.
They see a kind of
it's beyond
a doorway.
Control.
I can get in there, so I'm going to go in and say hello. About some comments to put up, but it's a kind of way of keeping that connection. Even though they're not here, they're still here.
Yeah.
Maybe no 24/7, and John's just disappeared. Now he's back. He disappeared. You went.
You see, we're talking about these things and something's happening. I know something's happening.
Something is why I talk about them. And that happened to I'll cover the comments and we say, but it happened to me a couple of times. The first time it happened, it took me a few seconds to realise that my guest wasn't there anymore. It must have took me 5-10 seconds to realise that he'd gone. He'd actually pressed. I think he tried to look up the comments. And he pressed the exit button. I don't know where he pressed the wrong button. But I was still rattling away, and then I thought, wait a minute, he's gone. He's away. Where'd he go? And then eventually came back. But I think it is a way of keeping that connection.
It's because if you think about it, what's the comment?
That's because the minute you mention paranormal, people tend to go to occult demons. They say, I'm a Christian. A very bad one, to a very bad Christian. But believing the paranormal, and people in church went straight to the occult, devil worship.
Yeah. It's just kind of that fear of the unknown. Because if you think about it, there's the paranormal, which is it really specifies more of. It brings light to what happens beyond this world, and whether we can somehow reconnect, communicate between one another back and forth, and having something tangible, something that you can hear, something that you can record, something that you can videotape, something that you can, witness in person and go, okay, you see, something is there. Then there's those that believe in aliens, from outer space. Then there's those that believe in Bigfoot and Loch Ness monster. I hear Loch Ness is big in your area.
I have heard of it. I have heard of Loch Ness. I've been, and it's a beautiful part of the country. I'm going to stick Sarah's comment up. I used to think it was the end when you died. I think Sarah was one of the kind of see non-believers. I don't want to use it. I know what you're saying because she's sitting right there. Non-believers. But I think since we started PIH and we've done investigations and the bits and pieces of, evidence, whatever you want to call it, we've picked up on the things that she's experienced. Again, going back to what we were saying earlier on about people experiencing something for themselves, that personal side, and they start to think, well, maybe there is something to this after all,
Exactly.
I think Sarah's one of them, but no, Loch Ness. It's up north somewhere. It's a big bit of water. It's a big stretch of water. Is there a Loch Ness monster? I don't know. I've swam in Loch Ness 2 or 3 times, and I've never been bitten in the butt yet by Nessie. But I know.
Well, if it does happen, let me know everything about it.
You'll be the first one I video call. John, I've just been bitten in the ass by Nessie, by the way.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
But is there something in Loch Ness? I know they've been trying for decades to, find Nessie or whatever. They have picked up sonar readings in the loch that they cannot explain.
Exactly
That's
right.
it.
So, it kind of goes back to kind of what I was saying is people will certainly, they'll say, okay, yeah. Paranormal is bogus, but Nessie does exist. Nessie is bogus, but Bigfoot does exist. Bigfoot is bogus, but alien life is out there. And there's a little bit of truth to all those things. We can't pretend to. I mean, how often do scientists discover a species that was thought to be extinct and still lives on? We wrote them off. We said they no longer exist. We found these fossils that are millions of years old. They're gone. They're gone. And all of a sudden, they have the proof.
Something pops up.
Yeah.
With the paranormal, a lot of people don't believe it, but there's too much evidence. Same as Bigfoot. I mean, I know that there's photographs of footprints. And we don't cover Bigfoot, but I dare say it's the same kind of thing. There's too much evidence. I mean, when you think the amount of paranormal teams in the world, and all the different bits and pieces of evidence that they've picked up, ourselves included, and there's too much evidence to just simply say, when you die, and that's it. It's lights out. There's nothing.
Yeah.
And I've been asked as well, and I'm interested in your answer in this. What is your soul? You see, you always hear people going about their souls left the body, and what is your soul? And my answer to that is your soul is what makes you. Our body's just bits of meat basically put together, but I try to say people, what makes you think? What makes you, when you go to sleep, what makes your heart keep beating? What tells that? Because you take that heart out, it's just a bit of meat. What makes it a bit of meat? Same as your brain. What
You're making me hungry. It's just meat. I wish I had a heart burger.
Or a brain burger. Big brain burger.
Exactly right.
I'll have a lung burger today. But do you follow what I mean? What keeps this going? What makes us a good person or a bad person?
Yeah. You're really hitting onto a question I think most of us do have, and all scientists do have, but they're unable to answer with any degree of certainty, because in martial arts and in also faiths and certain faiths, it's mind, body, spirit. So we have our brain, and our brain helps us to conceptualize. We dream, we fantasize about whatever, how we see ourselves in the world, how we see the world differently, inventions, that the world will eventually use. Our bodies is what manifests it. It's our hands and our bodies that actually can construct these things that our mind is envisioning. But it's that soul that provides us with the want, and it runs everything. It connects everything together. That's why mind, body, spirit, and everything that we do, those three elements are present. When we eat, mind, body, and spirit is all involved. When we dream, the same thing. So to your point, you have, what makes it all work? You know, every culture has a different word for it. Here we call it internal spirit. In Asia and China, they call it chi, which is internal energy. Japan, Korea, they call it ki, internal energy. India, they call it prana, internal energy. So we all have a word for it because we know it exists, but it's not tangible. We can't look at it.
You can't touch it.
Exactly. You can't touch it, but it does exist because it's what keeps us breathing every day. It keeps our heart beating every day. It keeps us, it wakes us up every single day, that we have another day to live. This internal energy is what keeps us moving and grooving, and how can it's just, we can't hold on to it, it's hard to explain. And that's why other things in paranormal and Nessie and all these other things, if they're not tangible, it's hard to put an explanation, but it's there, it's true.
People, sorry, John, carry on. Laura, say I've read about this before, and I've seen videos on it, but the people have actually weighed the soul. The fact that after you die, you're 21 grams lighter. How simple it's energy leaving your body, your soul, in essence. I also, this is going to sound probably pretty stupid, but it makes sense to me, so that's all that counts, I liken the soul to petrol in a car, or gasoline, I should say. In a car, I don't know if you use the word petrol over there, because all the films, it's always gasoline. But you've got a car; it's a bit of metal, all moving bits and pieces bolted together. What makes that car go? What makes that engine start?
That is, wow, that's a great analogy. It is, and it's one that I use when I'm teaching martial arts, and when I try to explain that everything that you do has an equal level of importance. So in other words, to your point, in an automobile that takes, here we say gasoline, UK petrol, but regardless, if it's not in your vehicle, it won't run. Let's say you do have petrol in there, but let's say you take out one spark plug. Let's say your car has 6 spark plugs, but you take out one, the whole car just doesn't work. And so it's an unusual phenomena that, and it's a point to be made that everything is important, everything works together, everything matters, and it all works together in order to have the function of moving forward, and traveling. Sometimes I'll use the analogy of okay, let's say you're making a cake, and and you say, what, I got everything except flour, sugar, and eggs, but I'm gonna make a cake, but I'm missing those 3 ingredients: flour, sugar, and eggs. Well, then you don't have much of a cake anymore.
No.
because it all works together. It all works together, and one is just as important as the other to make it a very satisfying meal.
Right, that's very satisfying. I've got a comment for Craig, but Kate's just popped in. Kate's going to the orthodontist. She says she's going to the orthodontist, so she just popped in to say hello. So, hi, Doc. I hope you're going all right at the orthodontist. I think it's a teeth piercing. I'm not too sure. I think it's seriously a teeth piercing.
I told you earlier, so.
So, she does told me earlier, sorry. Yeah, I forget these things. It's Midge. Craig, that's Laura's other half. I'm not going to say better half, or she'll kill me. When my dad died, I was the only one in my family who saw his last breath, and I swear I saw a wisp of something coming out of his mouth. I like to think it was his soul moving upwards. That's funny Craig says that, because when my dad passed, he was in the hospital for weeks, etc.
Yeah.
And we got the phone call, came up to the hospital. He's not going to. I think it was 7 a.m. He's not going to see lunchtime kind of thing. But long story short, they kept giving us these deadlines, which is a bad kind of poor choice of words. It kept saying he'll not make lunchtime. I don't think he'll make tea time, stuff like that. But they ended up coming into me and saying, right, why? This was about 11, half 11 at night. Why do you go home? He'll be fine. He got himself and come back in the morning. I went home, literally 5 minutes in, my phone went, your dad's just passed away.
Wow.
I missed it by 5-10 minutes. But when I went back, obviously I went straight back up to the hospital, and the nurse says, they've not took him away yet. He's in the room. You want to get in and see him, kind of thing. And I went in and I was just looking at his body. I wasn't looking at my dad, because there was just something that told me, this feeling that he was gone, he was elsewhere. And that's, even though it was my dad's body, the guy I grew up with, he was elsewhere, just with Craig saying that a wisp came out of his mouth. And that's what it was right. So if, his soul's gone, he could be standing next to me,
Exactly.
away somewhere else. But you just knew, looking at him.
Yeah.
No,
yeah. And for, was it Craig? Was it Craig that shared about his dad?
aye.
Yeah, Craig, thank you for sharing that. My goodness. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's to be there at the moment of a passing is, it can be haunting. It could be, it is extremely impactful. But it also is the most personal moment that you could ever share with somebody, and to see them at their last breath. And, I have had that experience myself. And Scott, relative to you, I have had a daughter that has passed. And
Sorry to hear that.
yeah, I appreciate that. And saw her last breath, and that it's one of those things that will never ever it changes you. It absolutely 100% changes the person that you are. And I was grateful that I was able to be there to that last moment. And it's and I think that's probably the healthiest way that one can can see it. See it in the fact that it's just so, it's an honor to have been her dad for the length of time that I was her dad. And and just to share that moment together. It's again, when you witness that, you have to question, what are we witnessing? And because obviously there was life there, and then all of a sudden it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
And the question is, where did it go? Because energy doesn't just dissipate. I feel that it transforms into elsewhere, you know. And if we think about the subject of life, you know, and you know, kind of the circle of life, I think to complete the circle would be, you know, we're living on one half of life. The other half is what happens beyond life, you know. And I think that's what completes it, you know. So anyways, it's you know, it's, I think anybody that pursues that study, you know, you got to be courageous, because, you know, you're stepping into a world where you're going to be highly criticized, you're going to be mocked, you know, you're going to be judged harshly, but none of those things should ever stop you from pursuing something that you truly believe.
No, 100%. But you know, people. Um, I've not been laughed at, but we've not been laughed at to date yet. But you know, this is people that will criticise. And well, actually, I did run into an individual last year. I'm not going to name him, but this it was through Facebook. This clown, you know, monkey, just basically, you know.
There's a lot of those out there.
Oh, this guy was, you know, I mean, you know, he put a comment up on his page and answered it. You know, he get loads of replies to it, but you know, I said we just go out and do our own thing, etc., etc. And that was it. Totally, I'd never talked to a guy in my life, and then he just came after us. You know, he came out, he started slagging PIH and all the rest of it, and I thought, no, I mean, I'm a Glaswegian. You don't slag a Glass, you know, you don't slate a Glaswegian, because we just don't stand for it. I thought, you know what? No, I'm not having this. Wow. You know, you don't even know me. And, you know, I'll defend PIH and I'll be ready to the hill. But this monkey just decided to have a go. And I thought, no, you know. And we got in a bit of comment war. But he upset a lot of people, this guy. You know, he was doing the rounds last year. But yeah, you're going to get slated. You're going to get laughed at. You know, people like yourself, you're wasting your time and all the rest of it. But
yeah.
Who's to say these people that are doing the slating and all the rest of it, who's to say they've not had something happen to them as well?
Exactly. I mean, because we're all going to experience things in life, and you know, to criticize somebody because, you know, their belief system is not the same as whoever's criticizing you. You know, it's funny, but it's not. You know, because I had a similar experience, and I had expressed to them, I said, you know, I hope something never happens to you that would be so devastating, you know. And sure enough, like, I want to say maybe about a month after we had this discussion, something very tragic happened to them, to their family members. She had lost, you know, her father and her brother, her younger brother, in a plane accident, you know. And my heart dropped when it happened, because we had just talked about that, and we had just talked about, you know, how cruel life can be sometimes, and you know, her take was, just get over it. It was just like, just get over it, you know, don't let it bother you, just get over it. That was kind of her take on that. And I just said, you know, I just hope nothing like this would ever happen to you, nor your family. And then sure enough, this happened. And then my heart went out to the person. And of course, I'm not a person that's going to say, I told you so. I told you. No. I mean, they're going to have to learn that lesson themselves. You know, I don't have to, nudge them on. But I wouldn't do that. I would never do that. You know, so
you don't wish ill on anybody. You can have your fallouts and, you know, arguments and stuff, but at the end of the day, you don't wish, you know, ill on anybody. And when something like that happens, it is sad. You know, it's tragic. Whether it's your worst enemy, you know, whoever, it's never a nice thing, you know. But see, unfortunately, there's people and no doubt it's the same in the film business. You know, you're going to get people who's going to slate you and blah blah blah, or you know, everything. You'll say, I watched your movie, it was crap. You know, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah, totally.
But
Yeah,
never.
and that's the. I mean, for me, for what I do, you know, and this is no different than you, or anybody else that pursues it like yourself. When we do what we do, we are subjecting ourselves by placing ourselves in the public's eye. We're subjecting ourselves for an ocean of criticism. Yeah, and people are gonna, and, you know, there's trolls out there that just love to just get a rise out of somebody. So they'll say this, that, and the other, and the keyboard warriors, you know, and they hide behind their keyboard. Yeah, they'll say this and that and whatever, just so that to get people just riled up. But it comes with the territory. You know, I go out there and I make a movie, and you know, and I'll do my best, but you know, somebody's out there is going to say that was a piece of crap, that was junk, that was horrible, and you go, okay, thank you, appreciate it, thank you for watching. Just you watched it.
Well, at least they watched it.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you watched it. Thank you for that. You know?
But we are going to do things from time to time that suck. You know, we're not 100% perfect, and you know we've done it as well. You know, we've done some things and they've not worked out. You know, and it seemed a good idea at the time. We're trying it. I thought, no,
yeah, you're right.
That was crap. You know, and if somebody comes along and says, "Well, I watched your thing. I watched your investigation. It was rubbish." Say, well, that's your opinion. I'm not going to shoot you down for no enjoying. You know. No enjoying it, you know. I might watch something of yours and I might think it's crap as well, but you know, live and let live.
Yeah.
And no doubt it's the same in the film business. You know, no everybody's going to say, "Oh, I loved you in that movie," and blah blah. You know, you're going to get people out there that are, and as you say, keyboard warriors. They're the worst. And
they are. But yeah, for me, you know, for me personally, you know, that's why there are critics. Critics provide you with a perspective, and if there's something that they're saying that I can use to better my skill set, you can bet I'm going to work on it. If they say, you know what, you know, the way he was expressed himself, you know, he looked like he was overacting. You know, he tried to. You could see that he was trying to really act sad, or he's really trying to act angry, or he was really trying to act drunk, or whatever the situation is. Then I'll go, okay, you know what? I need to step back, put some more time, and make that more real, more authentic, more you know, believable. You know, so okay, they're giving me something that I can work on. But if they say, you know, we don't like his hairstyle, we don't like his look, we don't like, you know, he's, you know, whatever they want to throw at me, well, you know, there's not a lot I can do. You know, okay, fine. I'm not your cup of tea. I'm not your cup of tea, and that's okay. I'm okay. I'll keep on living. I'm fine.
Laura's saying you need a T-shirt which says, you need a T-shirt which I've got that says, "I'm perfect. What more do you want?" I already know. I'm, you know. So he's there. He's over there. So is John. You know. But thanks for that, Doc. Thanks for that, dear. But no, I mean, you do. You're going to get critics and stuff like that, and you get people who are saying things to help you, to give you advice. Yeah. You know, maybe. I mean, I think we've got David and Craig on board with our Wallace True, and the first, I don't know, draft, I don't know what you call it. The first one we did was video where we said to him, and he said, "Right, I want your opinion, you know, and be truthful." And they're fantastic. And so David and Craig says, "Well, you can maybe try doing this way or doing that way." So we went away and we redone some of it. We added bits onto it, and it turned out a lot better, you know, than what we first thought. And I'm not saying we did a bad job. You know, Sarah and Laura did a bad job in, I don't know, take one, whatever you want to call it. But once we added the extra wee bits in, it did work a lot better. So I get what you're saying. You know, somebody says about, you know, a movie character, you say, right, I'll take a wee step back. I think what this person said, what can I do with it? kind of do something with it, and you go and try it. And people like that are fine. And
exactly. I mean, you gotta, for what we do, we have to be open for constructive criticism so that we can get better at what we do, so that we could always provide content that is better for the audience members. I mean, that's the thing, and for so I'm all for constructive criticism. I'm all for it. But when you're in this industry long enough, after a while you filter the crap that comes at you. You filter it out, and you find that one or two things that you kind of go, okay, they're onto something. All right, they're making a good point, and then you apply it to yourself. For yourself, I would only imagine that in terms of when you do investigations, that the technology is changing. That now there's other things that you use in order to find out whether that area has entities in it. So you have to keep up with that. You got to keep up with the constant trends of technology.
You see, that's what we were meant to be talking about. Actually, your basic investigating. We tend to stay away from technology. No offense to anybody that uses it, but it's their thing. But we tend to look at spirit as being basic. I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that. What I mean is, you get these teams that go and spend hundreds of thousands of pounds on cameras and blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah.
Spirit doesn't care. If you get a spirit for the 17th, 18th century, they don't care if you've got a £400 or £400 camera or a 30 pence ping pong ball. And so that we use an M pod and we use a K2 and an EMF meter, and that's about it, and we use the Necrophonic app, which we've had a lot of luck with. So there you can have basic things, we investigating, and we've had a lot of luck with him. It sounds big-headed. I don't mean it to be big-headed, but they've worked quite well for us.
Yeah.
So far, because I think, spirit at the end of the day, as I said, doesn't care. I want your opinion on this as well. Spirit at the end, they don't care how many cameras you've got or whatever. They just want to talk to you. They just want to be acknowledged.
Exactly.
And, if you get a spirit for maybe the 1700s and you get this big camera there and there's somebody standing next to you with a ball, the spirit will go for the ball rather than this big camera.
Exactly. You're making a great point, because you do it fundamentally. And I mean, if you're catching a fish, you could use the most sophisticated fishing gear and the most expensive boat takes you out to the most populated fishing area, or you can have a stick with a string and a worm and be there, and you still catch a fish. So it doesn't have to be complicated in order for it to be true.
Exactly. I mean, as I say, no disrespect to teams that use all their fancy tech, that's their thing. But at the end of the day, a ball, we're just trying, and spirit can communicate with a ball. If you turn around and say to a spirit, can you move the ball for yes, or leave the ball alone for no? And if that ball moves, and you say, are you a male, your feet, whatever, and the ball moves, that spirit's saying yes. You're talking about a ping pong ball.
Yeah.
And then you'll get somebody with a big expensive piece of equipment that's trying to get the same answers that we're getting with a simple ball.
That's interesting. That's really interesting.
It's to me, like the K2 meter as well. We'll ask it to go to. I know there's a lot of people. There's a lot of things that can manipulate a K2 meter. Can be anything: radio signals, electric wiring, etc. But how we use it is if a meter's been sitting there, we call it dormant for a length of time, and we ask a question and say, can you make that box? We always call it a box. Can you make that box go to yellow? If that box goes to yellow, then back down, then to us that's, we're not saying it's paranormal, but that's something. And then we'll wait a wee while and then ask something else to see if that box lights up again. And if it sits dormant between those times, then we know, well, something's making that box go.
Exactly.
You know, and it's no the constant flow of electrical wiring or anything, because the box would be going all the time. But for it to go and stop and go, then we know, well, someone's there. You know, you get these teams that say something's there. I don't believe in that, you know, because it's not a thing, it's a person. Even though they're in spirit, they're still a person.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Absolutely. Yeah.
But I studied film broadcasting at college. Constructive criticism is part of the course that only helps me. It doesn't, but it gives you, it lets you think about things that you've never thought about. I mean, you were saying about investigating, you know, when we first started, I had a bad habit. I would ask, you know, 20 questions, you bang, 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 bang. And somebody says to me, leave a gap between your questions. You need to give spirit time to answer.
Exactly.
Aye. True enough, you know, because I was asking one after the other. So, no, you need to give them time as you would in a normal conversation. You know, give them time to respond to you. And it did, you know, we didn't get loads of answers, but we got, you know, a handful kind of thing. And it can be the simplest thing, you know, we use cat balls, and sometimes we go to a place, the cat ball would keep rolling. So it was one of the guys, David from SPIG, who we're quite friendly with, he says, put the cat ball in a glass and it'll no move. But it'll still go off. You know, and it was the simplest piece of advice, you know, but it worked. You know, because cat balls, they've got a habit of maybe rolling about and you can set them off. So stick in a glass and then put it down. The glass will, you know, the cat ball will no move. So it's, you know, and it's little things like that.
Exactly.
Can make an investigation. But no, I believe spirit is, they just want somebody to talk to at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
You know,
hey, Scott, buddy, I'm gonna have to leave. I got another.
That's fine, but
run to.
I was winding it up at the 60 minutes anyway. I've been watching the clock anyway, because I know you're a very busy man.
I got to run to my next thing, but buddy, let me tell you, it's always an honor to be on your show. I would love to be back. You know, if you ever want me, if you never want me to come back, well, tough. I'll talk to your wife. No,
I'm going to. We're taking July off, so I'm going to get you back now because we're not finished talking yet. There's still loads to talk about, but I know, as I say, I know you can be limited for time, which is totally fine. So we will wind it up there, as Laura's saying. Thanks, a great live guy. Good night, doll. So. When's the film out, The Bouncer?
You know, right now it's going through distribution right now. So the Bouncer is my latest movie. I had the great privilege of having the lead role in there. We have really known actors in the United States. Costas Mandylor, he's from Australia. But if you know the Saw movies, he's one of the lead actors in the Saw movies, Costas Mandylor. Oh my goodness, we have a great
fan.
Yeah, we have an amazing cast. But right now they're going through their distribution deals right now, so I'm crossing my fingers that it will be coming out this year. So I'm crossing my fingers, and hopefully very soon I will do like a world premiere of the trailer for The Bouncer very soon here. So just be on the lookout for that.
Oh, I'm going to be, but we'll let you go. We're going to wind up here, folks. So a big thanks to John and everybody in the chat and for your questions and stuff. And we're going to call it a night, and we shall see you next week. Have a great weekend. Right. So wind up there, and we'll say goodbye. Thanks, everybody.
Have a great one, my friend. You take care.
Will do. Cheers. Bye. Bye.
Cheers, buddy.